Well, happy whatever day this is that you're watching us. This is Richard Rosen, Winnipeg's friendliest undertaker. For those of you who've been watching over the years, the interviews that we've done, the purpose is really to share knowledge on a wide variety of topics. They've covered funeral topics from green burials, things about when you're considering your estate and your estate plans for end of life planning, to consider your digital assets as well, because they are part of your estate. Estate is no longer just dishes and golf clubs. And this is a new segment that we've launched over the last couple of months on successfully aging in place. The idea for aging in place really struck me a few years back when I bought my story-and-a-half house, and I was looking up at the steep flight of stairs that go up to the second floor to the bedrooms, and I thought, gee, how am I going to manage these stairs as I get older? And then thinking about some of the other aspects about getting older now that I'm in my mid-50s, and what other things am I going to have to concern myself with as I get older. And so I decided it was time to start learning about what it takes to be able to successfully age in place, so I can overcome issues about safety and security and health and wellness, so I can enjoy the best quality of life that I possibly can. So one of the things that I had done, I became an early member of an organization here in Winnipeg called Businesses and Organizations Supporting Seniors. And it allowed me to reach out to various people in the aging in place community, businesses and organizations that support older adults, that help to maintain their best quality of life possible, to support the older adults, but also it's for family to feel comfortable and secure that their aging adults or family members are safe and secure. And these interviews help share knowledge about aging in place, but it also gives you an opportunity to meet some of the folks from businesses and organizations supporting seniors. So if you're looking for a good audiologist, a financial planner, some extra home care, a pharmacist, an occupational therapist, or a moving company that caters specific to seniors, these are to name a few. You can go to my website and you'll find a BOSS page, which gives a complete list of the membership and the links to them. BOSS doesn't have a website currently as of 2022, but we're working on it, but we do have a Facebook page. So with all that said, we're going to get into our interview. And as I said, part of BOSS is a moving company. And Lisa Sinix, who is the owner of the Seniors Moving Company. Lisa, happy day to you, and thank you and welcome to our interview today.
Good morning, Richard. Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Things just come out of need in a lot of cases, and I know that's kind of what happened with you. So what really got you to decide that the Seniors Moving Company was an important part for our older adult community?
Yes, that's a great first question, and it's a good first answer as well, because it kind of sets the stage for what we do at the Seniors Moving Company. We are approaching our 18th year assisting older adults with their relocation needs. And the company was born from necessity, as you say. Years ago, previous 18 years, I worked for the Manitoba Housing Authority in 55 plus buildings in the city. And so I was working with older adults and noticed that their moving needs were underserved. They were sometimes not even using movers, but moving in on their own without any resources to help. Sometimes they had a moving company who would just kind of leave everything in the middle of their new suite, not set up the bed and not kind of give them some assistance that they would need. So I started watchdogging a little bit, and I started showing up when people were moving in and asking the movers to do certain things, which to me made sense, but, maybe didn't to what their task was. Putting the bed together and the mattress and box spring in place, putting the dresser on the side, just kind of giving a little bit of extra help for folks who couldn't do those things on their own. And so after a while, I thought, well, why not create a seniors moving company. There were a couple of other companies in town that were doing similar work, but they were more business centered. And I wanted to come at the seniors moving company more client centered. So kind of keeping my role as a social work resource type person. That was my role at Manitoba Housing, but also doing the business end of getting people moved safely and efficiently and with good resources. So that's kind of how it all came about. And over our 18 years, we've learned a lot and kind of expanded our services and continue to meet the needs and demands of folks on their level, on a more kind of compassionate level, rather than just signing a contract, sending the guys. You know, we offer a whole range of services and try and keep that quality of service, but also that core value of assisting people in a compassionate way, because moving as older adults is not an easy gig sometimes.
And just that whole challenge of the stress of moving, you know, being into that new place, that your stuff is going to disappear in boxes and it's going to reappear in, you know, in this new place in boxes. And you know, they just, the logistics as you get older. Yeah, I can see that.
Yes, and it's interesting because as humans and human nature, there's kind of a large spectrum of sentimentality, should we say. You know, my first phone call this morning actually was from a lady who is 50 years in her house. And, you know, sometimes on that sentimental scale, you'll have folks who are really struggling to let go of the memories, wedding gifts and the things that meant something personally may not have a lot of monetary value, but they certainly have very high sentimental value. And, you know, my lady this morning of 50 years, hers was just about stuff. You know, I've just accumulated so much. I've been in this house for 50 years. So her sentimentality was on the lower end of the scale, but the overwhelmedness is still there because of the amount of stuff.
Yeah.
And so one of those really important lessons that we learned early on was to listen first. Listen to folks, hear what their concerns are. Very typical, 90% of our phone calls start off with, I'm so overwhelmed, or this is too much, I can't handle it. Listening to that statement is very common, but then the questions to kind of break down, what are you finding overwhelming? Is it the coordination? Is it kind of getting your kids some of the stuff that you're downsizing and they live in Calgary? Is it letting go of things that are important? Breaking up a china pattern, having to, you know, not being able to bring your dining room set to your new place because it's smaller, but just listening to what the concerns are, because we have resources and solutions for all of those examples. But hearing actually what the concerns are is a really important first step to not only build that trust with our clients, but to also establish our path of, okay, where are we going with this project? You know, what's important? Breaking it down into pieces for people, like we do with most overwhelming tasks in life, not just moving, but breaking it down into more manageable pieces is one of the strategies that we like to implement with everyone. But again, kind of the difference between Seniors Moving and a lot of other companies is we look at the whole relocation, not just the nuts and bolts of it, but what is the impact? And you know, are these folks going to a lifestyle that's going to work with them? You know, if we meet folks who really are undecided, they know they have to move, but they're not sure where, you know, there's a list of questions. You know, are you looking at something independently? That wanting to live on your own, so a condo or a rental? Are you looking for assisted living with some more participation opportunities, recreation, meals included? You know, we kind of look at it more holistically in order to better serve people and kind of work with them as a partner moving forward.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one of the differences.
But I guess it's really because of your background, coming from more of a working in a social advocacy space, that you get that. These are our aunts and uncles. These are our grandparents. These are our parents, and that's one of those pieces for yourselves. And I guess it's really one of the major pieces that really differentiates you as Seniors Moving Company, because you are focusing specifically on an older adult population.
One of the things that sets us apart as well is the range of services that we offer as well. We're kind of one-stop shopping for folks who are doing a relocation. And so downsizing, getting organized, kind of helping folks go through things would be the pre-move stuff. And then the core of our business is packing, moving, and unpacking. And typically we do that in a 2-day process. We'll pack and prepare the first day, and then the second day we bring the truck and movers, get loaded, get to the new place, and then we unpack and set up. Sometimes it's usually a day process. Sometimes if it's a bigger move into a bigger condo or what have you, it's a 2-day unpack if folks want that. And then post-moving. So if there are things to ship to family, if there are donations, things that need to go to the dump, and then cleaning, making it ready for the new owners or new tenants or for the real estate market, we can handle all of that too. So those are all of the things that we offer. And so we kind of partner up with people in their full relocation project, as we call it. And then kind of have a partner moving from beginning to end. A lot of folks don't need all of those services. So we do start off with a consultation, which is a 1-hour free visit from us, just to talk about and do that listening piece of what do you need and where are you, with the whole process. And then we kind of plug in the services that folks need. One of the other things that differentiates us from other moving companies and even folks who do similar work is that flexibility of service and billing actual hours. So it's fair and transparent, and it works. And it's to me, it's a no-brainer. If you sign a quote to get a job done and you only do half the job, you would expect to only pay half the money, right? And that's a little bit different than some of my competitors. But again, it relates back to that core value of fairness and honesty and why we do what we do in a client-centered way.
It's really about being respectful, of the client, but also of their belongings, because as I mentioned earlier, these things are important. They don't maybe have the dollar value, but anniversary gifts, first and wedding gifts, and grandchildren's pictures or whatever.
Yeah. Well, the couple that I've outlined already, just being a partner in the whole move. And you just touched on an interesting thing too, and that's just honoring what people's wishes are and honoring the things. Some people might look at a bunch of leftover things in the house of donations just as stuff. But to those people, it's kind of a statement of their life. The older generation, so I'm in my mid 50s. So if I looked at my parents' generation who are, early 80s, all of those things in their dining room, in their china cabinets, in their linen closets, those are all statements of them raising a family, being successful in life. Back in the day where you set your table with linens and stemware and china, just honoring that whole statement of their life is massively important. Yes, we want to do that to make sure that they have a high level of satisfaction when they're in their new place and moved and set up and happy. Of course, we want that level of satisfaction, but we want that level of satisfaction for them to not have any regrets, to make sure that things went to good places. You know, we don't dump at donation centers, you know, outside the door. We try our best to pay it forward with where things are going. Certainly the wishes of our clients, if they support different charities, we make sure that things go there. And so we want to keep the autonomy as much as we can in the client's uh, decision making. It's their stuff. It's honoring their past and what they've built, raising their kids. And, you know, I often say to people when I go into homes that have 50, 60 years, people have lived and raised their families. And, you know, I'll just think if the walls could talk, you know, or going into basements that you see the old bar, the 70s bar set up. And, you know, I'll be with an adult child and I'll walk down and I'll say, well, how many high school parties, you know, happen down here? And we'll both laugh because that's exactly what happened. You know, you can see it, and it's a statement of, and so they're not, it's a statement of, for the adult children, of aging as well. Because when I say things like that, you know, nice 70s parties happen down here, they'll go, oh yes, and be reminded that they're in their later 50s, right? So
right. And probably mom and dad don't remember, or they weren't told about those parties either.
Exactly. Yeah. What party? I don't remember that one. Yeah. So it's really important to remain a step in that person's life while you're going through the whole downsizing, packing, moving process. Because emotionally it's not easy. There may be sentimental things, you know, as things, but the memories too of each room and how it's set up and all of those things are super important. If we can recreate little parts of their home in their new home, I love to be able to do that. A good example is, you know, the little foyer tables with the mirror that are in a lot of older homes. If we can bring that to the new place and replicate that, I love it. So we kind of think about things, not just moving, packing, moving your stuff, setting it up and making it organized. We try really hard to work with our clients, give them, not give them, but allow them all of the autonomy that they want / need, can handle. Because it's not my move. I don't have to live there when we're all done and the truck's gone. They do. And so, yeah, we just work really hard to meet the needs of our clients on the level that they are.
You said I'm going to have to trademark this, or you should, honoring the statement of your life. I mean, and just the way that you approach this is, you know, have you ever thought about being a funeral director? I mean, that's, you know, that's what we do, right? It's to take what we have and what we're learning about folks and embracing that and sharing it with others.
Being third party, objective, you know, in the whole relocation is a really interesting but important role, because, you know, a granddaughter would say, Grandma, I don't want your china. I'll never use it. Me saying to that granddaughter, we'll pack it up. It's okay. We can drop it at your place if you need. And then I'll say, and even if it doesn't come out of the box for a while, it's really important to your grandma that you take this. Mm-hmm. Often that'll get things thinking, well, this is important. You know, the reasons that I just kind of explained about why honoring things is important, I can tell to a granddaughter who might not get it. Mm-hmm. You know, conversely, our clients sometimes listen to us a little bit more closely than they would to family members. You know, oh, Mom, what are you taking that great big painting for? It's awful. You know, interesting too, because that's an actual scenario that happened, and a lady had a huge painting over her fireplace, and she said, I have to bring it with me because My mother-in-law gave it to us. Her husband had passed, and she said, I loved my mother-in-law and I just really have to bring it. And there wasn't room for it. And so, now I'm approaching a potentially uncomfortable conversation. And I said to her, like, do you like the image? Is it something that you've enjoyed looking at? And she said, no, I've really never enjoyed the image, but I loved my mother-in-law. And so I have to bring it. So what we ended up doing was we took a picture of her when it was above her fireplace on her mantle, and I printed her a 5x7, put it in a Dollarama frame, and that's all we needed. So
crisis averted.
Crisis averted, but a
Yeah,
really good
okay.
solution.
Right.
We've set tables too with linen and china and all of that stuff before it got dispersed. And those little tiny things just make it's not the hurt, but makes the kind of anxiety and the difficulties just a little bit better.
Right, and the transition
And the transition,
as well. Yeah.
Exactly.
It's curious when you talk about the things that I'm an only child, so I was responsible to move mom from her apartment into supportive housing, and then I've got all this extra stuff that I can't put in her space because there's no room. And one of them was the spoons. Everybody knows about spoons. Everybody's watching, probably looking on the wall. Yeah. And I tell this story of every time I had to go somewhere on a trip or whatever when I was a kid or got older, she always said, "Oh, here's $10. Make sure you buy me a spoon wherever you go." And well, now I got all these darn spoons in a box, but it's not the spoons, it's the spoon racks because my dad made them. And I remember as a kid, him making these beautiful mahogany spoon racks. And I thought, well, I can't get rid of them. I won't get rid of them. I have very, very little of my dad's building because he didn't do a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like hanging them on the wall because I don't want to have to clean them. I thought, well, could I hang ties on them? I got a lot of ties. I mean, I could maybe do that. I thought, it's got a little hole. I repurpose them. Maybe I'll have to see what I can come up with.
And you just touched on an interesting one too, is repurposing.
Mm-hmm.
We love to repurpose things, and the dining room suite is a perfect example because we can often take the buffet and replace it for, a TV stand or, a display cabinet or something that will fit. And then we get the question, well, we can't break up the set. Yeah, you can. You certainly can break up your dining room set. If it's important or if it's going to be better served in your new place in a different purpose, then let's do it. If that was your, often our clients will say it was my parents. So now we're 2 and 3 generations. So keep it. We'll multi-purpose it, and we can break up the set. It's okay to do that. Same with china. It's okay to break up your china pattern. If you want it, and I often suggest this too, if you like it, bring it with you. Bring 4 or 6 settings, a couple of serving things and what you'll use, bring it with you. Use it every day. Why not? If you like your stemware, use it every day.
This has been I love interviews when we don't stick to the plan. We kind of wander.
Did we
all
do
over.
that today? Oh, we did.
Yeah, we did. No, we did. It was. So thank you. It's been a wonderful experience to get to know you better and to share what you're doing with Seniors Moving Company to make to be that strong advocate. With that, so thank you, and to everybody, we do appreciate the investment of the time that you've given for us here today. Thank you very much. This is Richard Rosen, Winnipeg's friendliest undertaker, with Lisa from Seniors Moving Company signing off. Take care.